Obasanjo could actually cost him.
Can I tell you what he did?
Okay.
He gave us a New Year menu. Some of us read this inside the night through the social media and even this full speech. And since then, we've been going here, going there. And we in the APC we also been strategic. That we have to also plan on the ground or the polling unit level how to organize our membership and win the election. But talking about him, anybody who criticized him, I read about 7 newspapers today. I listened to radios and television. I've not heard anybody saying his position is not patriotic. I have not.
So, in other words, Nigerians should give it a hit. Well, let's talk about the implication of this move on the Labour Party now. How do you think that a lot of Nigerians will begin to see the Labour Party from this perspective? I mean, for a former president to have endorsed this new party, I mean, well, it hasn't really been new. It's always been there. But when Peter Obi moved in, it's giving it a different perspective. Aren't you in the governing APC afraid that, I mean, this party could just do you like what happened in Kenya, where an older party was just swept away and a president emerged?
The same President Muhammadu Buhari that created the material conditions for the emergence of obedient group. I told them, whatever happens after the election, if Obi wins, the first president you should thank is Mr. President.
Do you foresee an Obi winning?
If Mr. President has said, as Obasanjo said in 2007, that this battle is a do or die battle, he will hear about those youths. Those clamor for polling for PVC in INEC offices won't be there. So in other words, the APC has created the material conditions transpired after this election, transparent elections, should be credited to the APC. Okay. And to President Muhammadu Buhari.
Well, you're beginning to sound like former President Goodluck Jonathan here, and I hope the APC is really doing its homework, because the PDP is there, and Atiku Abubakar says, look, I'm going to be president during the time of Olusegun Obasanjo. I know I was his vice president. He doesn't want to endorse me, but nonetheless, I'm winning this election. What do you make of that confidence?
I don't know where it is coming from, because I know the North. I lived 28 years in the Southeast. I lived 34, going to 35 in the North. I've run around the North for 4 times with Mr. President for the election. The Buhari's 12 million vote bank are not housed in a dormitory to be transferred to Atiku. I've heard my friend Daniel Buala saying here that Atiku is going to inherit or harvest.
And that's because there's a talk of betrayal by some of your party members and leaders against your presidential candidates.
Those are talks to match the weakest masquerader batters. You know, when you have an internal crisis, you want to also outsource it by perception that this other man also have problems. Who don't have?
Well, there's been this talk that
with
the fight that's going on between you and the G5 governors, that's sort of weeping sentiments in the North to favor the PDP presidential candidate. If this happens, how will the APC, go through this election?
What is the relationship between the North and Buhari? And who had that before? Only Aminu Kano. The North knows that Atiku is not a mega scare.
Well,
Atiku is a wealth tax collector. He benefited from Intel and Customs. They know him. The school he opened in Adamawa is charging fees above those. The North could have looked at him if his school was pro the poor. Atiku in all his engagement had not been pro poor. So the North will quarrel with you if you fail in those small indices. The North takes it serious. That's their bond with Aminu Kano. That's their bond
All right,
President Muhammadu
as we
Buhari.
just try to round off this conversation now, you are from the Southeast. With this endorsement by President Olusegun Obasanjo, how do you think Southeast leaders will begin to take a look at Peter Obina? Do you think this adds up to his credentials, and maybe some of you who are big masquerades in the APC or PDP will begin to have a rethink of maybe, providing some sort of support to Peter Obi's Tiltily or something like that?
Please, try to win yourself from the old order, where the warlords will gather in the local government during the collation center. If 1,000 people voted and there are remaining 7,000 voters that didn't participate even, they will add 5. That's the old order. The new order is not more about the warlords. It's about those who care about the country, who are going to the polling booth, even after collecting your money. It happened in Osun.
All right.
Who told you we didn't share money in Osun? The APC shared money, the PDP shared money. So,
right.
but they went their own way.
It's so good to know. Osita Okechukwu, we must thank you so much for providing us an insight into the mind of former President Olusegun Obasanjo and the reason for his decision. I think one good thing I'm taking away from this conversation is that you've said that Obasanjo was very patriotic in his decision to write this, and it's left for Nigerians and of course the voters to make up their minds on election day. But we must thank you so much for being on the show. Osita Okechukwu is the chieftain of the All Progressive Congress, Nigeria's governing party, and of course he's the Director General of the Voice of Nigeria.